Let's talk about the Green Bay Packers. We all know Jordan Love, up and coming quarterback. He looks like the real deal, but he needs some weapons. And to get those weapons and fill all the other needs of this Packers team, you gotta start getting a little bit creative in how you look for wide receiver talent. I think this undrafted free agent the Packers just brought in is just the kind of out of the box thinking that you need to make big shots. Let's get into the article and then we can talk more about what this means for the Packers on the other side. This is from heavy.com. It says the Green Bay Packers brought in a few promising young players, including wide receiver Julian Hicks, after a strong rookie minicamp. SI.com's Bill Huber reported that the Packers signed Hicks on Saturday, May 4th, a wide receiver out of Albany. Huber noted Hicks' size and speed at 6'2", 202 pounds. Hicks was one of 18 players to get a tryout with the Packers during rookie minicamp. However, he was just one of 3 players to land a training camp contract. The other 2 were fellow wide receiver Dimitri Stanley and son of former Packers receiver and second-year guard Lecidus Smith. I could have butchered that one, but nonetheless, we're talking about Julian Hicks. So I think this is a really interesting pickup for the Packers. I'm curious if this guy can make the roster, Nick, and I want to know what your thoughts are. But Packers fans, in the comment section below, we're talking about the draft. We're talking about coming into rookie minicamp. Who do you think on this roster is going to stand out? Not just who stood out on paper as far as the draft. Who do you think is going to be the first guy to start making waves in minicamp, in training camp, in OTAs? Who's the new guy on the Packers roster we're all going to start hearing about? We heard about Christian Watson a couple years ago. Now I want to know, who are we going to hear about in Packers training camp, rookie camp, OTAs, all of that stuff? Let us know in the comment section below. But Nick, what are your thoughts on Julian Hicks for the Packers?
So it's interesting that you bring up Watson, right? Because that's kind of the major theme here that the Packers are trying to address with a guy like Hicks making the camp roster and potentially the final 53 as well. And that is depth at the wide receiver position. And it's really important to understand what the strategy the teams use in terms to fill out depth, whether it's just for training camp bodies or for people that make the final 53 who aren't the starters and big time contributors. And a mistake some teams make, they look for depth guys, they look for that number 5, number 6 wide receiver, and they pick like a weird body type. They pick like a weird, physical tool set, right? Maybe they pick a 5'10" slot wide receiver. They pick a Julian Edelman, a Cole Beasley to be their number 6 wide receiver. That's a terrible, horrific idea. What you want to be as your depth wide receiver or depth at any position, you want him to have the prototypical skill set, the prototypical body and athletic traits. And that's exactly what Hicks brings to the table. He's a great athlete, had a great athletic score based on his testing. He's 6'2", 201 pounds. That's good height and weight. If you look at his career, he had nothing but adversity facing him in college football. He transferred multiple times. He had a season loss due to COVID in 2020. He dealt with a broken ankle the following season. He didn't really get a chance to actually play football, and he did it at a small level at Albany in 2022. And over the past 2 seasons was pretty productive, 74 catches, 1,169 yards, and 17 total touchdowns, which are solid numbers. So you're dealing with a guy here in Hicks who put up a decent amount of production after overcoming an incredible amount of adversity. You're dealing with a guy with all the physical traits you want. So he is the perfect fit to be a depth piece and to be a camp body. And here's why that matters. If you want to rest a Watson, if you want to rest a Wicks or whoever during training camp, if you're worried about injuries, which let's be honest, Packers wide receivers past couple of years are synonymous with injuries, you want to have guys that can come in and take care of those reps during training camp in the preseason who look and play like NFL guys, right? You don't want, again, to use my analogy, you don't want a Julian Edelman knockoff to come in and take reps with Jordan Love during training camp in the preseason while you're trying to rest Watson, right? They'll just screw up the timing of the offense. It'll hurt Jordan Love. But if you bring in a guy with an NFL body, with an NFL athletic skill set, with some production to boot in college, even if he doesn't make the team, he performs in a way that allows a Watson, allows another receiver to rest during training camp to make sure they're fresh during the regular season. That's what smart teams do. And he also, to be honest, Hicks has a chance to be one of those kind of hidden gem steals because we haven't seen a lot of him play college. We haven't seen a lot of him playing college football. Again, multiple transfers, broken ankle, season lost during the COVID. He's had nothing but trials and tribulations. He right now, I know he's played obviously he's not a young guy in terms of his football career, right? He's in his 22, 23-year-old age range. but he hasn't played a lot of football yet. He's a guy on the upswing with an incredible set of skills. So I think this has a chance to be an undrafted free agent steal for the Packers. But overall, I think it's part of a smarter strategy in terms of finding at minimum a camp body that will allow them to rest some of their other playmakers to make sure they don't get hit with injuries.
Yeah, Nick. And this guy, I think the upside is kind of being downplayed a little bit. This is a guy, when you look at RAS, which is the relative athletic score, and they take a lot of things into account, put it into a calculation, and come out with a raw score. And that score is the highest being 10, the lowest being 0. You know, Hicks had a 9.18 RAS score. That's top 18 of all wide receivers. And they got him undrafted. This is, a guy that, he's right under guys like Lad McConkey. He's right under guys, like Malik Neighbors. This is a guy who's like pretty athletic, has a great size to him, great speed, great athleticism, and you bring him in as an undrafted free agent. The ultimate, low risk, high reward type of play for the Packers. This is a guy who, if he makes your roster and turns out to be a good player, you're like, hey, we hit a home run here and we didn't have to pay too much for the first part of his career. We're going to be on a really cheap contract deal. We can give Jordan Love major, big time extensions. We can extend guys like Watson or Dobbs or Jaden Reed, whoever we need to. This is the kind of moves that you need to make. Like I said earlier, you got to think outside the box. You got to take swings at guys like this. And okay, he had a broken ankle. I don't think that's the end of the world. That's something that can be recovered from. But we see he has a lot of raw athleticism. He has a lot of potential. We haven't seen him on the football field, as you alluded to, too much. So this guy could be the ultimate hidden gem. We just got to pick out the parts that we like, and just seeing how athletic he is and how talented he could possibly be, size and NFL prototypical wide receiver style. I think this is a great move by the Packers, showing they know exactly how to get these wide receiver talents. Data brokers sell your information to scammers, spammers, and anyone else who may want to target you. Your full name, email, home address, health records, even your relatives. It's all out there. That's why we use Aura, the sponsor of today's video. Aura shows us which data brokers are selling our information and automatically submits opt-out requests for us.
Cleaning up our information not only reduces the amount of that stupid spam we all get, but it also protects us from hackers who could use this information to help them access our social media accounts, bank accounts, and other sensitive information. Aura also does much more to protect us and our families from online threats. We also get features like antivirus protection, VPNs, password management, parental controls, identity theft insurance, and more without having to download several different apps. That's really key. One location, get all this great stuff. It's really easy to set up. And the best of all, we get everything at one affordable price.
And you may already have one or two of these tools already, but not having Aura is like locking the front door and leaving the back door wide open. Aura is always on, doing the hard work to keep you safe so you can focus on other tasks and have peace of mind. We value our privacy and we value yours. You can go to aura.com/Saturday to start your 2-week free trial. Also, link below in the description. Again, aura.com/Saturday for your free 2-week trial.